More lives matter. It seems like black lives don't matter. More lives not shot in the back, running or choked out to death on the corner. They take the taser for inside, I'm just the coroner. To the yellow journalist that want for writing facts. For worldwide web press stories, always calling them black. Civil rights violated, here on C1.7. And CIA and FBI agents, brethren studies with one for drug on one turn. Most wars are nerds and 30 more than if I'm on the road, no fighting curves. Professor Bruce, we're fighting for survival. Making wars models won't have in common as Captain Rival. Inquisition is governors and secretaries of state. Got statements on their tables like ribeye steak. With no care, blood dripping. They eat blacks rare. Foreigners wearing 6-point badges, pretending they're heirs to the vastness of state Muslim Al-Aqsa. Sailors blood so fast the horses brow, I swear it's agua. Demons search when stealing pioneers and organs. Psychiatry, death industry, to start selling black orphans. And half closed coffins, cause legs are missing, killing stateless people, cancer won't even see remission. More lives matter. Black lives don't matter. More lives matter. Like black lives don't matter. More lives matter. Like black lives don't matter. More lives matter. Like black lives don't matter. What system? Not gonna make myself no victim. Run down and kick them off, educate oneself and flip them. All those big titles of nationality strips them. Must grip reality in order to really grip them in this third dimensional illusion. Organize chaos confusion. Feeling your protection. Mental intrusion. Universal law, declaration of the ancient. I self-law and master. From the rooftops to the basement. Blue beach to the spaceship. Ever since all creation. Celestial foundation. Ocean floor to the ranges. To the mountain tip. To the cosmic infinite. Basically we are way above the shit. In other words, get in tune with spirit. Take a breath and accept. Mental polarity, gender, rhythm, correspondence, vibration, cause and effect. More lives matter. Black lives don't matter. More lives matter. Like black lives don't matter. More lives matter. Black lives don't matter. More lives matter. Like black lives don't matter.
More lives matter. Ain't no sound up. It gets affected when projected through stand law. If my perspective wanted to keep to replay. All the rules that one replay. So they want to cash off. But we get on to the next one. No protect what's on it down. You said my cat fraud. Can't believe what's up with that. Can't believe what's on fraud. Trayvon. Michael Brown's after us is bad. The afterlife. Visited the class raw. Who they really want to see with the crown on high and the guards on free. I am free and you nothing is what your land or your country to see. Dirty and liberal rights. The insatiable delight of knowing thyself and bringing all injustice to light. What the fight is your plight, make your sight for the bright. I'm the mic in the night. More time for you to realize that.
More lives matter. Black lives don't matter. More lives matter. Like black lives don't matter. More lives matter. Like black lives don't matter. More lives matter. Like black lives don't matter. No.
Peace and love, Moors. Peace and love to everybody listening worldwide, wherever you are, wherever this message finds you. I am your host for this evening, for this night. I am Ms. Rain Aleph L, along with my co-host, Brethren, Cujo Akbo L. Noble.
There's a lot more. Peace and love. What's good with you?
Islam, more. Man, you know what? To be honest, man, everything is well. We spoke briefly like around 6 o'clock, and it's like 9 now. And I was like, yo, we was talking about a lot of good things. And you know how we push power perceived. I was telling you about my external hard drive, all of these things.
Right.
And what I'm going through right now as far as the communications, right? I'm like, damn, I think it's an attack on the communications. I'm like, not that, you know, it hasn't been, you know, but I'm like, everything is just wilding out right now. And, you know, all of that turned around, or it's turning around, you know, just as, and I'm like, yo, is Mercury in retrograde? Like, I don't know. I still need to check. I'm about to try to find that out right now. I'm like, because the communications are crazy right now. My phone was acting up. I was telling you, you know, chipping my phone and the screen cracked, and just my external hard drive stopped working, all types of communication failures, right? So I'm like, damn, man, this is just crazy how it's all just going on at one time, so to speak. And I was like, man, you never know what would be the subject between now and then, because we was talking about some other things.
Right.
Yeah, we was talking about a lot of things, bro, but I have to pause for the cause real quick, because man, this is crazy. Like, because, you know, I feel like to even speak on this, I have to totally reintroduce myself, right? And I mean that because I go back years, you know what I mean, with certain elders and master teachers and all of these things. Like, I mean, before it was a YouTube wave, and I feel like there is a difference between us, those who grew up on this information in one form or another, and then those who came in through, solely found out about it through the digital way. You know, over the past 10 years, there's been like a digital explosion of information, this electrifying age of information. But like, you know, so let me just say this. All right, so because it's about knowledge itself, right? And when you look at certain things, like for me, I came up in what they call the Jersey area, or Mantis Views 29. I posted a couple of weeks ago a passage from Emma Marie Trusty speaking about how the Lenni Lenape got excluded from the land. Meanwhile, others stayed in the South Jersey region, right? And they was just simply classified as black in the federal census. This is what it says in that particular book. And that rings so much bells to me, because I came up in this area. I always felt like, you know, there was something more to me than what I was being taught in schools and all of these things. Yeah, I just always felt it in my spirit, man, just knew what it was. So as I got older, a lot of things started making more sense. I think I shared this story before, but I'll share it again. When I was 13, and salam alaikum to my brother Jamil, we was young. He was the first Muslim that I met and hung out with in my neighborhood. Facts indeed. That is the truth. And his Umi was our Umi. My Umi was our Umi. You know what I'm saying? And we just had certain principles. Like, there was just certain principles, period. You know what I mean? Where I come from, it's kind of like a small Charlotte in a sense. You know what I mean? In a sense. But it's like we grew up with certain principles. And I'm saying this because I'm seeing that we Moors of today, not all of us, but some of us who got into this only through the digital wave. I'm not talking about us who grew up with this and it's just a part of us. I'm talking about those who watched, you know, a Taj video or whatever online and woke up. I find that there's certain principles that's lacking. I'm not saying I'm perfect. We started this intro to this class again with the Moors Lives Matter. And Moors lives do matter. You know what I mean? That is a fact. That is a fact. But the point of life is to reach deific life. You know what I mean? And this is the perfected man, which takes time and experience, or so-called time, first and foremost, so-called time. because time is an illusion. It's an instrument that we made on this plane to mock the above plane, as above, so below. So we're talking about the movements and clocking the movements of the universe, right? And so many of these movements of the universe and experiences living through them, you know what I mean, makes us who we are. And through this time and experience is how you reach deific life or perfected man.
Peace, boy.
Why do I say that? Because everybody, Islam, you there?
Yeah,
You hear me?
yeah. Quick. Pardon the interjection, but part of my reading today, throughout the day, I would take like a Quran chapter and just go through that chapter all day. Was chapter 7. Just as you're talking about man reaching deific life and all that stuff. So I just wanted to say right in tune. Carry on, Moor.
Facts indeed. Facts indeed. So I'm putting this in perspective, right? So, okay, now that's a lesson out of Noble Drew Ali, the book Divinely Prepared for Him. Now, like I was saying, there's certain principles we grew up on. I'll give you one just as an example. This is not nothing to be proud of, but where I come from, there was just a certain code of movement. You understand? Meaning that if you meet another man or anybody else, you don't shake their hand with the glove on. Understand that. Understand that. Overstand that. I'm not going to explain it to you. But these were certain principles that where I come from, that was just the code. You didn't have to be none of that. But if you knew anybody who knew, you don't do that. It's why we didn't ask. You know what I'm saying? It was just the rule. It was the principle. Don't violate that. You never shake a man's hand with a glove on. Cool. So I'm just saying that I'm not perfected, man, but I did come up with principles. And I'm on this, we all are on this ladder to perfect ourselves through this experience of life. You know what I mean? Some people's lifespans are longer than others, so-called, because, you know, maybe they was only here for a short lesson or a reason that didn't take long to manifest, and then they were supposed to check out. So when we talk about reaching deific life, if you claim to be perfect, you should be living that in this realm. But we know that's not true, because if we're talking about the lessons of Noble Drew Ali, then that means that if you were perfected, that means your body would have dropped and you would have reached the stage of that particular life. Now, I'm paraphrasing that, but I suggest that you read chapter 1 of the Moorish, the Holy Quran of the Moorish Holy Temple of Science, right? Read that, chapter 1, and it tells you when you are perfected, the body of flesh would drop, would be no more, because you would have had served your purpose. So you haven't served your purpose, meaning that you are not perfected. So when we talk about Moors' lives matters, stop trying to attack people's character as if that's something like we're not here to experience the human experience, flaws and all. You're not perfect, and nobody that you're going to bring up is perfect, because if you was, you would drop and be no more, and we all still here. Now, going back to principles now, like I said, and I said this for a reason, I grew up in the area that they call so-called Jersey, and coming up, it was, you know, just in the youth, I'm talking about youthful age now, because I'm going back to bring it to present day. So youthful age, you know what I'm saying? There wasn't much to be proud about, except for self, right? Because, you know, only thing we had was a hockey team and a basketball team. We have 2 football teams, New York Giants and New York Jets, right? Now, this is before I knew about all the attributes of nationality. This is before I knew about all the attributes of nationality. I'm learning about nationality at 11, 12, 13. It's ringing the bell. And I'm saying that I want to pinpoint that because I mentioned my brother Jamil. Now, at 13 I'll never forget this. I mentioned this particular aspect before. It was one of the first times I ever see my mom so I don't even know the word to describe it, but she was happy. You know what I'm saying? She was really, really happy because she had been put on to some more information, and it was a class that was pretty much local. You know what I mean? And me and Jamil, we had just got new bikes and all of these things. We had mongooses and Schwinn's and all this because we young, you know, and we was riding past my house and my mom pulled up in her act, you know what I'm saying, and was like getting out there. She said, come on, get ready to go. We going. I'm like, where are we going? We about to go ride out. And she like, we going. I found the truth. This is what she said. I found the truth. I'll never forget. And we were standing right in front of the house that we were standing on. It had a small yard, and then it had a porch. And at this time, I don't think the porch had screens in it, but it was, you know, and before she went in, this is what she was saying on the front lawn. And I knew that I couldn't be like, I couldn't get on my youthful rebellion type stuff. I had to go. It's just again, go. Don't say no, don't ask, don't say you want to do, just go. You know what I'm saying? And at that particular time, that was the first day I ever attended a Queen Valahara class, right? In so-called Camden, New Jersey. So-called Camden, New Jersey, right? And, you know, that's not far from the so-called Atlantic City area. It's not. It's really close to Philly. You can look at Philly right from the riverfront in Camden. So-called Camden, New Jersey, which was a production hub in old times that had went downhill, and it looked like a war zone, but, you know, that's what it is. So it's like, it's basically geographically, natural geographics, that would be considered like East Philly, you know what I mean? Because it's right across the water. Natural geographics, though. But, so that was the first time I heard about that. And, you know, throughout my life, I'm growing up with this information. And, you know, there's certain principles and things like that. Now, Queen Valahara's first class, I'm not here to, you know, bash her character, none of that. You know what I'm saying? Because this is where I'm learning from. I was going to school, grades was improving in school. I'm just speaking from my experience, not that's it. It's my experience. So we was learning the science, but honestly, I don't remember retaining too much information about Noble Drew Ali because she was teaching symboliography, and I'm still young, and I was relating to that. Like when she was drawing on the board, all of this, I'm just relating like, oh, okay, signs, symbols, we was getting that early. So I'm taking this information, or this information is being programmed, not programmed, but you know what I'm saying, embedded in me. It already was. It was like an activation more than a program. It was like, oh yeah, you knew this. This how I was feeling at that age. You know what I mean? Later on, you know, my mother, she stayed true to what she had learned and was able to walk away from that particular class and experience with and kept it going. So when I'm in my post-puberty years, for the first time, you know, I meet the brother Taj. Now, I remember the first time I met Taj or even saw Taj, I was tripping. I'm like, yo, there was this funny dude with the half afro and the braids in the back, and he was saying the realest things I ever heard in my life. I'm telling all my friends in the neighborhood, young, this is where I'm at with it. Like, yo, it was just crazy, but it was good, great information that had us fired up. You know what I'm saying? And later on, you know, we had everything kept going. You know what I mean? My mother had stayed in tune, and we know what they had initially sparked off. I remember being out on 125th, all of this. But I'm saying that to say this: the first time I heard about Noble Drew Ali was through my mom and Taj. That's a fact. I'm just laying out the facts because I have to speak on this. So the first time I ever heard about Noble Drew Ali was through my mom and Taj. Now, mind you, I said I come up in the part of North America that they call Jersey. All we got is a hockey team and a basketball team, the New Jersey Nets, both the New York Jets, New York Giants, they're playing on so-called Jersey side, so-called, right? But none of these are called Jersey teams. So we didn't have much to root for except a hockey team and a basketball team. Now, this is, again, before I knew about national domicile, before I knew these things and what that meant, you know what I mean, and how it relates to nationality and your civic status and territorial jurisdiction, etc. So I'm ecstatic when I'm finding out about Noble Drew Ali. I'm like, wow, we really have somebody to rep for us. This man set up a Canaanite temple in where? Newark, New Jersey. Like, we have somebody to be proud of. Like, okay, you know what I mean? Like, I know he was born in what they call, we know it's North America, northwest of Mexico. But for this man to come up north and do his work in this production hub, it was like, oh, okay, so it's more to what we've been taught. You know what I'm saying? Because if this man did all of this, we should have learned.
Oh, that's crazy. They always do it. They always do it. See if I can get back in. Oh, she got it.
Keep holding, you'll be able to listen to the show.
Stages, all of these things. So
you are now in the host queue.
This information is beautiful. You know what I mean? It's doing a lot. It's uplifting the spirit. It's making the energy in homes really great. And you know, we was learning these things, learning, and you know, it came a point where I actually, you know, and going back to what I said, some of us, and I'm not knocking it because that's the point of putting the information out, is to reach the masses. But what I'm saying is, there's like, let's just, for this as an example, like it's a difference between people who heard of the Nation of Islam, right? And we could get into, well, Islam is not a nation and all of that, but I'm just saying, for organizational purposes, educational purposes, they have an organization called the Nation of Islam, right? It's a difference of hearing about that and growing up like that. Like, you know what I mean, in your youthful years, because there's something about it that preps you, right? Opposed to learning later in life. So there's certain degrees that you learn, physical degrees, security, mufti degrees, all of these things. It's a difference between learning about it on the computer and actually growing up like that. So I say that to say that, hey, it's just like crazy. You know what I'm saying? Because I was taught, you know, you never quote unquote air out your dirty laundry with family. And, you know, growing up with these lessons that Noble Drew Ali divinely prepared, and he divinely prepared, right? And it's talking about, you know, the Asiatic, the Holy Covenant for the Asiatic nation. You know what I mean? And we are all the same. You know, the breast of one mother have given us up. We're the children of one father. All of these things, it's like, okay, so this is what it is. I remember the time when it was like finding gold to meet somebody else who said they was a Moor. You'd be like, oh shit, I ain't alone. I ain't crazy out here. Like, it was a safe place. Like, it was like, wow. Not that it's not today. I'm just saying, it was certain principles that you knew. If somebody was like, yeah, I'm a Moor, my people's are Moorish, you know what I mean? You knew that you had something or people to relate to. And then they knew who you knew and all of these things, right? So it was like, okay, cool. Fast forward present day, you know, everybody damn near heard about everything at this point in time in this electrifying age of information, right? But it's some people who got it through the digital wave and they have no respect for the principles.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you got people who have channels dedicated, 95% of their material is dedicated to try to defame, you know, devalue, depreciate, slander, libel RV Bay publications. This has been, you know, a theme, and I'm like, you know, this year I'm chilling, we chilling, but I'm not tolerating any of that this year. Like, I can't, because I stay quiet for the most part about certain things for a reason. You know what I'm saying? But I'm like, yo, I refuse to let anybody act like my mother, Harvey Bay, is going to be the scapegoat for the ills of the world. Fuck that. Excuse my expression. But no, I can't do that anymore. This is a new start and a new beginning. I've been, you know, sitting with myself, studying myself for a while now. You know what I mean? To improve, because I knew, like I said, I'm not a perfected man. I feel like I'm living the deific life. I do feel like that. You know what I'm saying? But I don't feel like I'm perfected, man. I feel like I'm prepared. I'm prepared. I'm aware. I'm not asleep. I'm not, you know, I'm not the scum of the earth. But I do feel like, you know, I live a deific life. You know what I'm saying? And I have my own reasons for saying that. And it has nothing to do with braggadocio, arrogance, vaingloriousness, any of that. Nothing to do with Frank. I'm just saying, at present day, I'm 31, and I took you back when I came up on this information through my mom at 11, 12, 13. Went through my youthful rebellion years. So I'll just say this. Anybody who did know me back then, you know what I'm saying? And if you do want to perceive me as from back then as, oh, he was wilding, for the most part, I was chill. I went through my youthful rebellion years like any other teenager did. All of that. Even though I had this information, I still, you know what I mean, could be like, okay, yeah, well, you can expect that. Why? Because everybody grows and things change throughout the years, going back to those cycles of time. So I'm like, you know, this is what it is. Now, I say that to say this, on the real for real, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart. This is a fact. Like, when I say I didn't get this information from the digital age, like, this is not braggadocio, but Rosemary Bay is my mother. You know what I mean? Like, I literally lived with Taj, or let me say Taj literally lived with us for a minute, and it wasn't nothing but the work. It was about the work, 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 and that's what it was. You know what I mean? So imagine that. Now, I can't. I'm not knocking it. I'm not trying to say I'm holier than thou, but I know that everybody who proclaims to be a Moor or a Moorish American can't technically say, you know, like, yo, I lived with Taj. You know what I'm saying? Like, or Taj lived with me, or however you, like, real talk. Like, I will wake up, he's there, they're putting the work in, all of these things. So I say that to say that, you know, I will forever have a certain respect for my life experience and people who was a part of that. There's people I know since back when. I see them today. I can't kick it with them because we just on a totally different vibration. You know what I'm saying? A totally different vibration. Like, brothers my age, you know what I'm saying? We took two totally different paths in life. So today it's like, you know, okay, well, you know, you did this, you super violated that person and that person, so I already know what you would do to me because you did that to them and we came up. So I don't know, you feel me, present day, if we could, and I'm just saying from my experience, from those so-called peers in my age group coming up, nobody else. That's I'm just saying real talk. I have experienced and had a lot of closure for the 2018 Gregorian calendar year. And I don't want to make this about I, because I'm saying this to say something. I really am. I'm not braggadocious. I'm not about me. That's not my style at all. But, you know, I'm just giving you the real facts. So I'm like, you know, I think that Nas said it the best, and you know, I'm not classifying myself or anybody else as a thug, but he said something to the nature of, you know, love changes, you know what I'm saying? And that was a very interesting story You know what I mean? And love changes and best friends become strangers. And I remember that quote. We all remember that quote because that was like a real fact. Thug changes, love changes, best friends become strangers. Bar on that. That's those crazy bars. But so I say that to say that this, right? Like, I stay in my lane. I respect my life story. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying I live the worst life or the best life. You know what I'm saying? I have experienced many things that other people won't and haven't, and like other people have experienced things that I won't and have not experienced. So, you know, in this life where we are trying to reach deific life, you know what I'm saying, and the plane of perfection, I'm just saying, you know, if we're going to hold people to certain standards, now don't get me wrong, some things are unacceptable, right? There's certain things that's unacceptable. I was watching with my mother last night the R. Kelly story. You know, that's crazy. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not even talking about that lower level. That's like super lower level. You know what I mean? But I'm just saying, outside of that, it's like we still all have things that we're trying to perfect on ourselves, right? It could be somebody has a goal to lose weight. Somebody has a goal to make this amount of finance. Somebody has a goal to put out this amount of videos or get this attention. Whatever it is, everybody has something that they feel like they can make better. If not, then that more than likely means that they're stagnant. They're complacent and content with where they are. And that may be a good or bad place. But for the most part, all that lives wants to live and everybody's trying. I say that to say this. Okay, so I can take it back to my first class with Queen Val, and I'm like I said, you know, put that in the time frame between 11, 12, 13 to today, 31. I'm not saying she was a perfect person. I'm just saying the information was unbiased. It wasn't about her. You feel me? It was about the information. She just happened to be the vessel that was chosen to actually, you know, soundboard that information, basically. For those of us who didn't get it before she did, and she knew that there were certain things we needed to know. And she did what she did to put it out there. At 11, 12, 13, that's all I'm thinking. I'm not thinking about, you know, this isn't acceptable, that isn't acceptable by these people and all of this. I'm just like, we all here. So, I'll say that to say this. I have certain footage of people speaking on the flaws of other people, and I don't put it out because they're all in-house problems. Like, they really are. They're in-house problems. Now, I'm a Moor who grew up with certain principles. I did not say certain perfections. I said I grew up with certain principles. Okay? Some learned from my mother. Some learned from outside of, you know, my mother-son relationship through experience, period. And like I said, one of the things that I've learned was you do not air out dirty laundry. But I'm saying that I'm not going to sit back and watch everybody try to make my mom that sacrificial lamb or scapegoat to place all these ills on of, you know, Moors and the Moorish movement and, you know, nationality, because all of this was going on before my mom even found out about this movement. So I say that to say that, yo, like, I live with Taj, my mom. Well, let me say this: Taj lived with us, my mom, and as far as what I've seen, because I seen this video after we spoke, briefly after we spoke around 6. I seen it after that, and I just was like, wow, this shit blew my mind, because you know, Nana GL put out a video with Brother Taj and Delilah in it. And now, not Najib L, salute to Najib L, who was hosting and was on it when we first came out with the blog talks, and he felt it in his spirit to share that. You know what I'm saying? I didn't see him sharing much else. You know what I mean? Just what our message was. Not on YouTube anyway. He was like really felt as though and esteemed that we had a message that was worthy to hear, and he was putting it out there. So salute to Najib L. I'm not talking about Najib L. All right, so this video that Najib L put up has Taj and Delilah in it, and you know, and when it comes on, you can see there's a couple of parts that's edited out. So I'm like, okay, he edited this out, he edited that out. You know what I mean? I don't know what that was that's missing, but maybe it was something that wasn't meant for us to know. I don't know. But somehow they managed to leave this part in there. And again, I don't know, I just felt as though this was funny style. And I hope that, you know, all is well. But it was like crazy to me because on the real, I've been listening to certain things for years now, and I didn't say nothing out of a certain respect, you know what I mean? But like I said, I don't care who it is, any slanderer, whatever. So I'm listening to the video, and you know, it's the whole thing, and I'm like, okay, I get like 7 to 10 minutes in, I'm like, hold up, something around that time, anywhere between like 5 and 10 minutes. And, you know, the sister Delilah is asking Taj, like, you know, what's up with these papers? As if Taj was, you know, BSing her or something. That's how she asked the question. Word is bond. This is a fact. This is not me saying anything. This is a real fact. You can check it out it's on his page. This was put out. Najib L, right? He put this on his page. Now, mind you, he managed to edit out other things, but this part ended up to stay in. So Sister Delilah is asking Taj, like, you know, what's up with this particular document? And she's implying it like, you know, he's not, you know, he's been BSing with it or something. And then he like kind of deflected that and was like, you know, well, yeah, Roz, my mother had a Mac or something like that and gave it to a friend who didn't give it back. I'm just speaking from my experience. Word is bond. I bring this back to say this. Taj lived with us for years, bro. Like years. Every time I've seen my mother and Taj co-working, anything like if Taj ever wrote an article, if he ever had a book or booklet, he always gave it to my mom on the USB. Like he would give the USB, she would take it off the USB, and then take his USB back. She never do nothing like that's what I've seen. I'm talking about 2005. We 2019. I'm going back that far, like up into 2011, something around that time. You know what I mean? And it was like, that's how I always seen them get down. So when I heard her ask him the question like that, like, where is this? You know what I mean? Like he was BSing or something. And then he deflected it on, you know, my mom having given the computer to somebody else. I'm just saying, I never seen them operate like that. We only had one in-house tech. Word is bond. And the whole time we was together, he was solid. You know what I'm saying? He was solid. And I spoke to him before even having to decide that I have to say something on this. Because this managed to come out today. I'm not just saying this for nothing. I just seen this before we started. And I feel like before any other wildfire rumors try to go out on my mother, I'm speaking up in her defense because I'm not tolerating it from anybody this year. That goes for your slanderers, Morisco World, anybody. I'm not. It's just I have to speak up. So my thing is this, you know, and I never wanted to have to do this, but you know, it's at that point. It's a new beginning. It's a new cycle, and it is what it is. I did not want to have to speak on this, but it just came to that point. So I always witnessed that relationship like that, and me personally, real talk, it was never. Well, you know what? I'm gonna leave that subject. I'm not even gonna speak on that, and I don't mean to, but it's not even appropriate for me to speak on. But it was always a strict do the work, let's do the work relationship. Let me say that. Facts indeed. Like, and imagine you young, you know what I'm saying? Taj is living with you. You know what I mean? You going to sleep hearing this conversation about nationality and birthrights all day, all night. That's the topic. You know what I mean? Like, that's it. We going in all night, all night, all night. Like, it was downloads while I'm asleep. You know what I mean? Because they're going in on these subjects. In the whole making of, you know, the arguing denial, the nigga industry, these classic staple literatures. So at this point, I'm fired up. I'm like, oh, okay, so where I'm from, you know what I'm saying? We had a prophet come put in work. We didn't learn this in school. I'm excited. My grades is improving, all of these things. But I'm like, you know, like, that was kind of ill to say. Now, again, my mom speak for herself, but I just know that, you know, I haven't ever seen her with no Mac laptop, none of that. And from my firsthand experience, I'm talking about since 2003, 4, 5. After 2005 and beyond is when it was like, okay, everything was getting tight-knit. And I started meeting more and more from up north, Mother Nature, all of these people. And I'm like, okay, cool. You know what I'm saying? But I haven't ever seen her with anybody's. And my mom is not a techie, believe that or not. She's not a techie. Like, she can work certain things, but you can't give her a computer and she'd be like, oh, I'm going to fix it. You know what I'm saying? That's not her. That's not what she do. Now, we did have an in-house tech that all of us know. So to be like, you know, she gave it to her friend, you know what I'm saying? As if that wasn't all of our people's, that shit broke my heart, bro. You know what I'm saying? If she did, that would be the only person who would look at it. And I spoke to him before this, and I'm like, yo, hold up. What's up with this? You know what I mean? Now, he was like, yeah, I remember doing this, but everything was on a USB. If that's what is being talked about, that's the fact. Everything was transferred through the USB, because again, he was our tech guy. My mom is not computer savvy or any of that. So that was that. You know what I mean? And I love my life experience and those who were a part of it. You know what I mean? I will never lose respect for that. But if I, like, again, you know what I'm saying? I have footage of people speaking on certain people a certain way, but that shit wasn't for the camera, so I never put it out, and I won't. For those who I know and love, like, when you come out, if you ever come out here, I will show you, you know what I'm saying? But I won't put that out to the public because it goes back to the principles that I spoke of some people not having, that came in through the digital wave, you know what I'm saying? They didn't live this life. They did not live this life. You know what I'm saying? And their perspective is based on that. So anything for content. So I'm saying that for Najee to even put that out and edit certain other things out, and you didn't edit that out because that's not for public. I don't care who said that. You know what I'm saying? Mm. If that was an in-house problem because somebody was looked at as being, you know, procrastinator, right? Procrastinating on giving somebody something and then deflect that on somebody else. That's not true. Like that broke my heart, yo, for the record, bro. Hmm. That really, I was like, damn, that's crazy. And you know, for it to be said and not be true, number one, and then to even be put out like that was crazy. And you know, I hear a lot of people slander us on Facebook, on YouTube, all of these things, and I'm looking at these people like, you never lived this life, and I will never stand next to you in any video. If I see you, it's on site. As a matter of fact, you can't get no video out of me because these are the type of principles that I came up on. I don't know about anybody else. Feel me? You will never see me in the video with people who slander my peoples, including my peoples. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, bro, today I got very disappointed, bro. Like, and that's a fact, bro. You know I don't do this. I don't do this But this shit is on my mind and my heart, bro. Like, this shit gotta stop. My mother is not a scapegoat for you niggas. Like, it's not. You put all of this, you know what I mean? Y'all put all of this, let's do this, let's do that, and then when shit get thick, oh, I didn't do that, I didn't do that. I own my. I've seen people bring certain issues up, you know what I'm saying, and be like, huh, you feel me? Because they talking crazy about you. You know what I'm saying? Let's go. This is what it's about, right? And then nobody do nothing. All deflection. So I'm saying that to say that own yours. If somebody's calling you out for procrastinating, I don't care who you are. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't matter. It's about reaching a plane of deific life and perfected, man. So if you're trying to put somebody's character flaws on blast, like you don't have any, I don't believe you. And that's something I can't respect, because I do respect the human experience. And in that experience, man is here to learn lessons. And I ain't talking about the masculine flesh. I'm talking about man is mind, the collective mind thing. So anybody could be turned to an Agent Smith. This is 2019. They showed you that in the Matrix. They tried to get Morpheus. You understand? They wanted to get him. And if it wasn't for Neo, the one, they would have got him. You understand? So what I'm saying is that, yo, I can't say it any clearer. Some people might not like me for what I just said, but I meant what I just said. Mom is not the scapegoat for the ills of the world. The European has been oppressing Moors. We could talk about all of modern history, all of these killings that have been happening since Obama's second term and all of these things, even before then, but how it was put in your face. You know what I mean? I knew these people was different. I knew, hold up, because people was liking and thumbs up, and you know what I'm saying? Like, from where I come from, these would be considered cowards, because I knew these was a different breed of I don't even want to call them Moors. I know nobody can change birthrights and nationality and everything, but some of these people are not living up to that standard, bro. They tried to blame my mom and Taj for the murder of Corinne Gaines, bro, and none of them pulled the trigger. She was exercising her birthrights, bro. And Ali Muhammad, Taharka Bay, all these dudes came out and accused them of that, bro. That's when I knew these niggas was different. And yes, I do mean niggas was different. They're not from a natural Moorish cloth. They're manufactured. 95% of their videos are videos in the house, like house niggas. They're showing you who they are. They've been showing who they were. But people like this. You feel me? They like this shit. And I'm like, yo, I don't come from that cloth. Because I was taught from the lessons I learned from Noble Dwali. He said, yo, he said, stop serving carnal customs in the ideas of men who have never done them any good but have always harmed them. Please show me a European who has done you any good. I'm talking about historically. He's talking about have always harmed them. Show me how the so-called United States citizenship and government, I'm not knocking, I'm just saying, show me how they have done you any good and have not always harmed you, whether that be extorting you in the name of liberty, through taxes, extorting you through exercising your birthright, through the right to travel. Moore's ancestors invented so-called cars. It ain't no question we need to be having about the right to travel. Our ancestors invented the idea, all rights reserved for the lineal descendants, but we won't see that. We will not see that. We will see that a lot of our people, not all, but some of these going back to those who grew up with this and those who found out through the digital way. I'm serious. I love all my family. I love all the Moors, but there is a difference between us. There's principles with this that are being violated rapidly. And people were thinking this is cool, like false accusations. So a couple years ago, Ali Muhammad, Parker Bay, they came out with this narrative that it was Taj and Raz's fault of what happened to Corinne Gaines. So they was responsible, and I appreciate the fact that it was uploaded on Canaanland Moor's channel when they came out. The attorney and them was saying that the police was at fault. Wasn't nobody else's fault. That policy enforcer violated them. So what I'm saying is that when I seen the beginning of this slander campaign, I seen that this was a different breed. These are clowns. These are house niggas. Facts indeed. Truth indeed. You know what I'm saying? We are not the same. We're not. I'm sorry. There's lions that grow up in the zoo, and then there's lions that grow up in the jungle. And there is a difference between them. The lion that grows up in the zoo waits on somebody to give them a meal. The lion that grows up in the jungle or the Sahara or whatever knows it got to go get its own. With the pride, though. With the pride, with the pack. That's unity. So I'm looking at these dudes and I'm like, nah, you can't tell me they NOI, you can't tell me they Moorish American Muslims. Don't give me none of that. They could claim it, they could put on the regalia. None of that makes them legit. None of it. I'm sorry, I don't believe you. I don't believe you. Even if you have more people, y'all are clones. So my thing is, I love my mama. I honor my mother and father. I came up, my father wasn't necessarily in the household like that. You know what I'm saying? But I honor the fact that, that's what it is, because I have a brother, and through him I have 2 nephews and 1 niece. You feel me? And I'm proud to say that's my fam. You know what I mean? And so there's reasons, and I have family members. I'm glad. You know what I'm saying? That the generation on my side, they're not no suckers. Like, that's just not the case. You know what I mean? So all I'm saying is fall back from what I experienced. And I'm only saying this because it was put out today. I would never want to have this conversation, but it ain't nothing else on my mind except this. It has to stop, bro. It just has to. Whoever don't like me because of that, I'm sorry. I love you still. But, yo, my mom is not the scapegoat, and Nunaji ill for even putting that out. You know what I'm saying? You edited other things. I'm not saying, oh, sweet, but that was, if it was an issue, that was an in-house issue. I have footage of people being, like, just slaughtered on camera. I don't put that out because that's not everybody else's business. That sounds like a personal issue. So if you have a personal issue, then there should be maturity enough for conflict resolution. And outside of that, if you want to try to attack somebody's character, I say you're still a hypocrite because you're not perfected either. None of you, not even me. You know what I'm saying? That's an illusion. That's an illusion. We were perfected. There will be nothing to learn. So if you're not learning, maybe in your own mind you do feel like you're perfected. You know what I'm saying? Maybe you were built perfect, but there's always add-ons. You know what I mean? There's always add-ons. So I say that to say that without going any too further deep, that's my piece, bro. Like, I'm thankful for Noble Drew Ali. I know there's a lot of other people that are thankful for him and the lessons that he tailored. You know what I mean? Because everybody trying to make character attacks, right? What did he say? What was the lesson? Divinely prepared. Look for the best in others and give them the best in you. And you can't tell me, you can look in, because when you look in the face of man, you look at the image of Allah. So you can't tell me, you can't look at your brother or sister and see anything greater than a character flaw. You cannot give me that. Like, maybe y'all who like all this battle rap, all of these things, and you want to see the verses and all of this, yeah, it's entertainment. You know what I mean? It's entertainment, but, real talk. People can speak for themselves. My mother can speak for herself if she so chooses. But I know from my experience, I have not ever seen anything like that. All I ever seen was information transfer USB to computer or USB to USB. And that's how they got down. Facts indeed. That is a fact. And I know my story ain't everybody else's story. I didn't want to come on here and make this about me. But like, I'm not letting that wig just ride. Y'all niggas are not gonna have a free fall on my mother, yo. I mean, that goes for anybody, and that's my piece. You know what I mean? And I don't mean, you know, any honorable Moor. I'm not saying because there's discrepancies or Moor needs to be called a nigger and all of this, but no, I mean from the bottom of my heart, and I'm not letting that slide, bro. And yeah, I know that there has been some delays on the RV Bay publication side as of recent, but that's all good. We are working on that, but that's for reasons, you know what I mean? Like there's been major great progressions by leaps and bounds. So don't get it messed up like we trying to rip anybody off. You know what I'm saying? Like that's definitely not the case. So that's where I'm at with it. Yeah, and I'm just like, yo, I don't even know what else to say without getting into too many details that I don't really even want to get into. I'm just saying that anytime I hear anybody speaking on my mom, I am going to respond to that. And I make sure that I didn't make my channel about that. You know what I mean? I didn't. You could go to my YouTube page. You don't see too many diss videos. It's a couple of responses to some slander. You know what I'm saying? But straight up and down, that's I will not. You know what I mean? Come to that level because I look at this and they be like, oh, you know, it's just so much crazy stuff they say. You know what I mean? But it's just like I'm not going for it, bro. I can't. You know what I mean? And that being said, I yield the floor. But before I do, I just want to say, remind yourselves, it's about principle. So some of us or all of us make mistakes. Some of us who feel as though we didn't, more power to you. I'm not speaking on the level of any type of R. Kelly wicked, malicious thing. No, we're not about that. Hell no. But I'm just saying that outside of that, we are all here to perfect ourselves. And if you got any remedies that you know of better, then stand up. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, Noble Dry Lee mentioned, stop serving carnal customs and the ideas of men that have never done you any good. If you read the history of the Moors, we could start with the Moors in Spain, Moors in Europe, out in Andalusia. It was a time of peace, but this is some of the most bloodiest history you ever heard of. Even with, like I was saying earlier, like when they was going in about so-called Black Lives Matter and all the people who got washed up on Obama's second term. I'm like, this is history repeating itself. If you read the history of Moors in Europe and the Spanish Inquisition, you be like, it's sad to say this, and I don't want to say this and sound cold, you know what I'm saying? But this is light what they're doing right now compared to what happened between the Moors and the Spaniards, you know what I'm saying? And the Spanish Inquisition. You know what I mean? Like this is like, you know, K9s and all of that. I'm not saying that's good, but that's you know, they used to do some crazy things. So that's all I'm saying. Acknowledgement to my mother, RV Bay Publications, all my elders. You know what I'm saying? I still love you, but don't do it, man. Don't do it. And like I said, you know, national principles, bro. National principles. It's nothing to call anybody up and have a meeting if that's what you wanted to, if there's any discrepancies, you know what I'm saying? But I've seen the character flaws in myself. I've seen the character flaws in others, and I'm not speaking about just recent. I'm talking about through life. You know what I mean? I could look back and say, oh, I could have done this better. Or if I didn't do this, then this wouldn't have happened, or whatever. We all here to analyze. That's how you perfect. You know what I'm saying? So be yourself. You know what I mean? My mother taught me this lesson a while ago. She said, look, you're not here to live up to anybody else's standards. And ain't nobody else here to live up to your standards. You know know what I mean? But if you find each other on a path and y'all in the same direction, then that's beautiful. That's what she said, verbatim. And it always stay in my mind because I'm like, you know, if we put 10 different or 10 to 100 or 1,000 people in the room, they all gonna have different standards and expectations. You know what I mean? And it's like you can't live up to all of that. So there's going to be those who appreciate you and those who don't. Those who devalue, defame, all of these things, and then those who know what's really real. So my fault. I know I was been in for like a clean hour on that, but I had to stick that for the record. With that being said, you know what I mean? I yield the floor, man, because it's just crazy, yo, crazy. So I say this, and I say this too. Even the sisters that I dealt with in my life, and even karmic situations, you know what I'm saying? I still got love for them today because I understand the lesson why that particular being had to come into my life and either stay around or exit out because it was a lesson to be learned. I don't sit here present day like, oh, that woman is a piece of whatever, because it didn't work out between us. It's like, no, I understand the lesson I had to take. So you don't see me sitting here trying to bash women or slander women. You know what I mean? They're curious creatures. I have a lot of questions. It's the mystery of the planet Earth. How did she get here? It's all types of mystery about our sisters, our women, our mothers, you know what I mean? Our nieces and all of these things. But, you know what I mean? Whatever the lesson is, if you don't take that and walk away with that, then you can't be perfecting yourself. All you could be doing is projecting blame, which is toxic because everybody outside of you is always the problem. You know what I mean? So I just say that to say that I am honored to have been exposed to Moorish nationality and birthright young and principles, because shout out again to MHHS Eyes Wide Open, Blog Talk Radio, Canaanland Moor, Sister Standing on Law, because the forum is called Principles of Nationality and Action. You know what I'm saying? The principles are in action. Even if you're perceiving them to be inactive, there's principles. You know what I'm saying? How many of you really know the business of different nationalities? They don't tell you. You know what I'm saying? They don't tell you because it's none of your business. You know what I'm saying? Like, you might see them debate in politics, but you know what I'm saying? Like, you're not going to see that too much of Europeans in Europe and other places, like trying to be like, oh, well, you're not a German because you ride American-made cars and those were made by Moors. You know what I'm saying? If you was a real German, you would have a Benz because they're German-made and all of these things. Like, whether a German is riding in the Benz, you know what I'm saying, riding in a Camry, riding in a Yukon, whatever it may be, a Honda, whatever, you know what I'm saying? Whatever they're in, it doesn't change their nationality. I mean, like, that's in the blood. So you never see them having these frivolous debates or arguments about nothing. You know what I'm saying? And these are men who have wives and children and all of this, but they want to be arguing with other men on YouTube. I don't get you. Y'all are from a totally different cloth. I'm not from that cloth. I'm just not, bro. Like, I'm not. And I know it's a pull to say something about this craziness. You feel me? But I mean, these people be upset. Like, yo, you got children. 90%, 95, 96, 97% of your videos are in the house and you're arguing about shit that you're just simply ignorant of. Like, you know what I mean? Everything that you're saying is based on color of law. And my thing is this: if we're supposed to be, you know, these upstanding citizens and obedient to, and I'm not saying be rebellious, But I'm just saying, if it's about being and abiding by the quote-unquote citizenship of the United States, well, shit, that's not permanent. It's a corporation which could close tomorrow if it wanted to. Then what you gonna do? Because it's closed right now. Longest shutdown in U.S. government history. You know what I mean? And y'all worried about all this other stuff about abiding by their rules and laws. You know what I'm saying? But they're shut down. If that's not telling you something, yo, they shut down, but the land is still here. The people are still here. Only people who are suffering is those who put their fate and their livelihood in the hands of the corporations. You know what I'm saying? And that's basically what it boils down to. So you got natural persons and artificial persons. It's a difference. Another lesson I'm forever thankful for. Forever thankful for. You know what I'm saying? So those artificial persons who all on their high horse, you know what I'm saying? And may even be getting a paycheck from them. Maybe why you haven't heard from them. Because they're not getting a paycheck. You understand? Like, they work for that. You know what I'm saying? We work for what is in perpetuity. We do what we do for perpetuity. We know. Y'all could say, oh, well, you know, the white man rules America and white man rules the United States and all of this. Okay, you say, okay, that's your perspective, right? Okay, so you feel like they're powerful. We're supposed to be honoring, you know, their system, their way of life, which is foreign to ours by nature. So we already unnatural in the conversation when you're telling the Moor that he's supposed to be following some European-made rule, not law. I said rule. So we're supposed to be abiding by that rule, right? And it's not even conducive to our existence. It's not even conducive to our existence because it's artificial law. We are natural people. So you put your faith and your life in that, right? You work for this system, you know what I'm saying? And all of this. And I say, okay, so, you know, they run things and that's how you feel. Due to history, there's been many empires that have risen and fell. You don't think this U.S. corporate empire is falling? It's right in your face. Like, and this is what we're supposed to hold on to. So if you hold on to that, I'm not telling nobody what to do. I don't even want to single out the U.S. I'm not even doing that. I'm just saying if you hold on to any idea of any of any men that have never done you any good, but have always harmed you, in the words of Noble Drew Ali, then you're sick. You're sick. You are really sick. And it's not to downplay you, but you need help, and we all need help, because this is about uplifting what? Fallen humanity. And how did that begin? By teaching us to be ourselves. But then, who are we? Are we subjects? Are we free people? Are we children of the Most High? I mean, when I'm looking at Noble Drew Ali's lessons and he's talking that talk, he's like, yo, man is the Lord of the plane of everything made manifest. I'm like, say that. You know what I'm saying? Like, real talk, say that, because it's the truth in the natural law, natural world, in real life. You know what I'm saying? That's what it is. And anything outside of that is somebody degrading your existence. That's subjugation. You know what I'm saying? That's not what we're supposed to be at with this. When they set up the so-called United States, the maxims was already laid out. That, you know what I mean? All men or minds are created equal and free and endowed with certain inalienable rights by their creator. That's birthrights. Who made you? Allah. But if Allah, if the closest meeting place, like, all right, in the Circle 7 in the Moorish Holy Quran, when it speaks about where is the closest place that you can meet Allah, and the answer is in the heart. That means that, real talk, when you was in your mother's womb, in, out, because you have your own heart now. She gave you one, right? But when you was in that womb, you was as close as to God. You know what I'm saying? You was going through the God production, the creation. You come out, right? Because it's an action word, and that's what she's doing. That's what she's doing. You know what I'm saying? She's making bodies. She's giving organs, all of these things in the womb. And then you come out, you have your own heart. So you are who your foremothers and forefathers are, without doubt or contradiction. So the closest place you can meet Allah or God is within you. You know what I mean? So you are the God. So when he's talking about man is the Lord of the plane of everything made manifest, that sounds like freedom to me. That sounds like freedom to me. Sovereignty, all of that. This is divine and national. So outside of that, you know what I mean? You talking slave talk. When I look at the history of the Moors, Moors was always about freedom, whether it be the Century Free Moors Act, whether it be the Treaty of Peace and Friendship. You know what I'm saying? All of these things. They was about freedom because they had an oppressor. You know what I'm saying? And this is why I say we're not supposed to throw out any of these sciences. I was speaking about this earlier. Even in the Supreme Lessons of the Gods and Earth, Muslim Lesson 2, you know what I'm saying? In the 1 through 40, a great question was asked, number 33 and 34. Number 33 is, what is devil? And the answer is a grafted man, which is made weak and wicked, or any grafted live germ from original is devil. Number 34, and can you reform devil? The answer is no. All the prophets have tried to reform him, but were unable. That's the answer. And this is, and I'm not sitting here saying, you know, oh, well, we black men and all that. I'm talking about the lesson. Why do I say that? Because you have people who think that they're going to reform devil when their empire is expired. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're talking about what they call them, the invisible empire. We could take it back to the lesson book. I studied the lesson book. One, he was talking about the clan and the invisible empire, right? So the empire is expiring. You know what I mean? And if y'all can't see that and you want to hold on to that expiration, then you expire with it. You know what I'm saying? You expire with it because you're a program in the matrix. That's really what it boils down to. You're a program. So I'm like, we're either going to be ourselves or be subjugated. You can keep serving the ideas of men who never done you any good, but have always harmed you. And again, Moorish history and European history is a very violent one. And if it wasn't, there would be no need for what? A treaty of peace and friendship. Because if everything was always all good, then there wouldn't have been no need for that. It would have just been what it was. A treaty of peace and friendship. So that means that they agreed to stop. It was an agreement. And from that, you know what I mean, they were able to have their short run. Remind you this, but the Moorish Empire had a mean run. And the European invisible empire, quote unquote, who's showing themselves now, they're expiring. You know what I mean? Some people will tell you that they already have in 1914. Excuse me. So I'm just saying that, you know, and whenever you hear Moors talk like that, and, you know, they're talking about, oh, well, you know, you're supposed to have this and you're supposed to have that, and all these things from the devil's civilization, quote unquote devil, you know what I'm saying? Or the pilgrim or the lower self, you know what I'm saying? The reflection, and not just your own lower self, that was even pulled out of you, you know. That is a sickness, bro. With all this freedom and information at our hands and our fingertips. So I say, you know, I don't get caught up in people. I've read Noble Drew Ali's literature, and I was proud. Because like I said, we didn't have much to be proud of except, like, you know, certain things. But as far as uplifting fallen humanity, you know, it just was like, to be able to say, like, Noble Drew Ali did his thing, so-called New Jersey. You know what I'm saying? So-called. And this is where we from. This is what it is. Like, there is a legacy of one of ours from here. You know what I'm saying? That was suppressed, untold, unsung. You know what I'm saying? People in the temple of the Moor Science Temple of America did not even sing his story right. They did not sing his story right. It's something that's written in stone. As far as my life is concerned, I've seen it firsthand. You know what I mean? I've seen it firsthand. But the information about freedom, knowledge, nationality, you know, I've seen the grassroots when we was putting our boots on the ground out 1-2-5. All of these things. So I'm just like, you know, that nobody can erase that. You know what I mean? That's what the intention started off as. But like I said, you know, even to this day, there's certain people who have taken on their campaign of slandering my mom, Arvie Bay, slandering Taj, etc. And you would never catch me standing next to any of them on some friendly, hey, we squashed. No, you don't get that. You don't get that. I don't know how that, I couldn't have been there. Like, if I was there, there would have been a totally different arrangement. Like, I couldn't have seen that because you're talking about people who opened my eyes and helped save my life. So, like, when I'm hearing them talk like this about these people, you know what I mean? Which is my people's. Like, and I'm like, no, hold up. Nah. You know what I'm saying? Like, nah. These ain't brothers. These is not brothers. These is not brothers. They are not brothers. These is sellout. Anybody could turn Agent Smith. You know what I'm saying? Anybody could turn Agent Smith. But they plot and plan like they on the same road with Moors, but Moors are on the pinnacle, high above. So, you know, if anybody ever try to call me out like, oh, well, you slacking on this, and that, I'm not going to deflect it and say, well, this is because of something that somebody did. Nah, I'm not trying to hear none of that. I'm not trying to hear none of that. So that's where I'm at with it. Salute Amir Sharif L. Islam. It's just what it is. So, I mean, with that being said, bro, I'm going to yield the floor for now, bro.
Peace, Moor. You hear me? Probably not.
Okay. All right. So, cool. So that's what it is. Who Jaws muted. That's what it is. And that's what I had to say. That's really what I had to say. And that's because I just can't, you know, I can't watch it. You know? Oh, hold up. My fault. I got you, bro. I got you. My fault. I was wondering, I'm like, hold on, let me pull this up. I see you muted. I got it unmuted. All right. Hold up. All right, peace, Noble. You there?
Peace, Moor.
Islam, Cujo.
Yo, Islam. I'm here. I'm here.
You fell off again. All right, hold up.
Yeah, there we go.
Moor, you there?
Islam, Moor. I'm here.
All right, Islam.
Yeah.
I was wondering. Cool.
Yeah, you straight. Yeah, you had to get it out, boy. You already know how it goes. You know what I mean? You already know how it goes. But it goes back to that thing that we've been telling Moors, you know what I mean? That you know, how you talk is how we've been talking. And we're telling people, y'all looking at Kudro or whatever, you don't worry. Watch these Moors coming up behind Kudro. Who's gonna not be taking you guys BS? Thinking that I'm talking crazy. You wait till other people who really need to be talking, that weren't talking for the same thing. Now, I'm not gonna say nothing. I'm gonna just chill. I'm gonna hold my tongue or whatever like that, because if I start talking, then whatever. Well, those times are done now. Because like you're saying, it's overt now. They're not even hiding. You know what I mean? They're in the open that we're agents. You know, just like people are in the open that, yeah, you know, well, it doesn't matter or whatever. What do you mean it doesn't matter? These guys, certain people are pedophiles and stuff. What do you mean you buy their album still? The hell are you talking about? What do you mean? What do you mean a tranny is winning Miss Universe or whatever, and you're not talking about that? You're gonna talk about some people who doing good work? You can talk about some people doing good work, but all the BS going on, you have nothing to say about it. And again, going back to what you were talking about with new IGL and uploads, you got Brother Bakari right now, got freaking something on him for putting stuff up there, putting up uploads, getting 50 million views or whatever like that, probably getting checks or whatever, not even hitting people up whose stuff they're taking and uploading. You got Brother Mathino with House of Tunes, because he uploaded stuff from him. You know what I mean? And again, go back to that same thing you're talking about, that with the digital age people who got this info. You know what I mean? Like for example, with ourselves, we tell people we weren't tainted Moors when we came into this. We didn't have dirty Moors around us when we were just getting into this info, because we came in from the jump on the right frequency. From our first, hey, you ever heard about Nova Dwali before? That was a good Moor. From that time to all the learning that we did, it was Moors who were good Moors and put us on to some other good Moors. And then every time we get put onto Moors, they'll be telling us, oh yeah, see those Moors over there? Watch those Moors over there. Watch those Moors over there. Those Moors down there, this is how they talk or whatever. They're going to whatever. Here's their book that they put out talking BS. Here's articles in newspapers that these people wrote. So there was a certain standard. There was a certain level. Or like we were talking about, there was principles that were in place that, you know what I mean? You're not going to sell nobody anything crazy. If you say you printed it, how much pages is it? 10 pages. At 10 cents a page, you can't go crazy. You can't go crazy. You know what I mean? Like you can't. You just can't. That's just part of the thing. You know what I mean? No different with us even having RV Bay books. Because it's a violation to put those funds in your pocket if it's supposed to go to uplifting the nation.
Right.
It's not like we got books up there from the site and it's for us to go buy Jordans or whatever.
Right.
Like every single thing that sells out of our temple goes right back to the temple. Everything that sells goes right back. Everybody's doing volunteer work. Ain't nobody getting no salary or no check or nothing like that to be doing what we're doing.
Right.
Like you're doing this out of volunteering. Whatever time you got, you put it in to making this work. Because what else are you gonna do? Why would you try to destroy this? It's like I was reading a quote earlier about Buddha talking about love and how there's a difference between like and love. If you like a flower, you'll pluck the petals. But if you love it, you'll water it.
Facts.
You know?
Facts.
So this is what we're supposed to be looking at. Or this is how we're supposed to be looking at each other, the Moorish movement, the nation, our fez, our turban, our holy book, whatever it is, do you like it or do you love it?
Right.
And if you just like it, then you're probably going to be the same one to destroy it. Which goes again back to, you know, the principles and that concept of love. And what is that really? And if that's not unconditional, then shut the hell up telling me about, you know what I mean, we're Moors and let's do trust together or whatever like that. You ain't doing trust with people I don't trust. What are you talking about?
Thanks, though. Straight up.
How am I gonna do a trust document with Moors or put my name on it or whatever like that when right now I can't even trust Moors? I don't even trust Moors in my phone who I talk to. Anybody else? I don't even know who they are.
Word,
like if I'm not one-on-one with you, like I really don't know what to say. You know what I mean? Because I don't deal with you. Especially if there's opportunity to deal with me, and you rather not deal with me, you rather slander because I know RV Bay or something like that. So, you know, go around and tell people don't use them because they're with them and talking BS.
Thanks, though. Thanks.
No. Right, like for example, for example, with in the chat, this individual Jez in the chat. Now the whole time, right, you're breaking it down. You're not speaking about some shit you read in a book or whatever. You're talking about your personal experience. Which puts book to bed or whatever if we're talking about birthrights and nationality. Because we're going right back to the lessons of man being what he knows. We're fruition. We're not belief and faith and all the other stuff people are claiming. And then there was a part where you're, and somebody else said it in the chat too. There was a part where he's asking questions, right? And you're answering the questions. You're answering the questions spiritually. And stuff just going over his head the whole time. Stuff still going over his head the whole time. You know what I mean? There was about a 5 minutes where it was like rapid. Every time he asked something in the chat, oh yeah, here comes Miz. Bam, 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 bam. Slapping him. Over the head. And it goes back to the same thing again with this digital age. These the people who are learning on that platform of, you know, it's digitized to them. They're gonna get corrupted downloads. You know what I mean? You play vinyl today, it's better than the music sounds better than any digitized whatever that these people could say went through some process, whatever like that's perfect mastering, whatever machine mastering. Your vinyl is still gonna sound better. There's still gonna be more richness to the music. Because of the platform that the message is being relayed on.
Right.
You know, and again, speaking from personal experience gives a different perspective. You know.
Thanks, bro.
Right. And again, you know, we're not talking about when we're looking at on the outside, you know what I mean? Moore's even sitting there, you know what I mean? This is the first time some of them hearing this story. You know what I mean? Where did Miz get on it? Because that's RV Bay's son. Like, if she knows what she knows, what the hell does he know? Because he doesn't really talk and put out videos and stuff like that or whatever. You know what I mean? But it's that real to people. You know what I mean? Like, you go some places or whatever like that, people call you, hey, Kujo, or whatever. And that's somebody who's just been watching you online.
Word.
But then you get to connect with them for real and see how real it is. Like, these people are real people. This is not some, you know what I mean, digitized whatever. Or like you said, this is not the niggers in the room or in the house. These are real life people that you're gonna press palms with. You know what I mean? I still remember meeting Grand Chic Nature. And being that, you remember that high school teacher that used to be on your ass, that you were always on his class on time, and then you never miss any of his classes or whatever like that. You always got good grades in that class because you know that teacher just might beat your ass if you don't do good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then being in the presence now, and then, hey, he's not even serious all the time like that. He's actually pretty chill. You know what I mean? It's not birthrights working every day, all day. Like, we actually could talk about something else. I thought I would have to bring my dictionary and stuff like that or whatever, you know? It's like we tell Moors about, like, when we went to we were into North Carolina or whatever, and I had to share a room with Todd, and Moors like, yo, you guys stayed up all night building or whatever. Like, Moors, you crazy. What are you talking about? You know what I mean? I was out. Those Moors are watching the fight or whatever. They ain't building about what? Know what work Moors put in today? How about we get some chill time? Like, what do you mean?
Right.
Yo, could we get some rest, please? Like, could we get some rest? Could we have a meal? You know what I mean? Like, could we just eat this meal in peace without phone going off or whatever? You know? And then you see how real it is. You know what I mean? That yeah, this is not that digitized thing. This is actually something that you really have to interact, because this is reality. This is so real. You know, and again, we know this from experience. We don't need to go to a book to reference some stuff, because we're talking about, we are the path. You know, the path over there, and you get to walk on. We're the path. We already know where we're going.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like, you know, it's like when when the brother said that the boat has left the dock. We already know the destination, or we wouldn't have left yet.
Right, though. Right.
You know what I mean? Like, what do you mean you're trying to say where we should go? Like, what do you mean? We've been the ones steering the boat. Like we said, like where were certain people, you know, people who talk BS, where were they? You know, 1999, 2000, 2001, like what were y'all doing those times? Were you did you even know what Know Thyself was or whatever? You know?
Right.
Again, like, you know, and again, we use you for example, because me and like Moore's like brother Yusuf and certain people, like we talk about this all the time. You know what I mean? Like this, like that story that you just told. Just think, like, yo, that must be so crazy, like being that young and knowing already. You know what I mean? And again, inspiring Moors to put their children on. You know, that their children know that they're Moors or whatever like that. 5, 6, 7, 8. They know. You know what I mean? Coming out the womb with El Bay and all that. Just because of certain things that were already put down. Just like what you're saying about people trying to make certain people scapegoats or whatever. You can't diss. You know? Wrap them up the barbed wire way. Throw them off the bridge, feed them to the piranhas, all that stuff if you want to violate.
Right.
Because it's not even worth doing what you're like even being a sellout is not worth it right now. Because even as a sellout, you have nothing to get.
Exactly.
You know, but again, in the digitized world, a like and a thumbs up and a whatever, 50,000 views on a video, so you can get a $10 check from YouTube. Oh, yeah, for sure, it's worth it. You know, and we tell Moors, all these Moors that got raped from Moors out here, who we brought up or whatever. We tell them straight, yo, you see that finance that you gave to them? That was our finance. That's why we're mad. Because you should have found us first. How the hell you find them first? What do you mean you found the dirty Moors before us? What do you mean? The hell were you, like, where was your mind at that you gravitated to your energy, called those people to you, opposed to us?
Right.
You know? And it goes back to that thing that from the jump, we were around righteous Moors, the most righteous Moors, the Moors that all the dirty Moors talk about. Those are the Moors that brought us up. All the dirty Moors. There's Moors that we were around that you couldn't say their name to certain people because you're automatic enemy if you say their name. You know how much names I had to hold back so I can get some stuff from some Moors? Because they're on some we don't deal with those Moors. How come you don't deal with those Moors? You know, well, they don't teach what Noble Drew Ali taught and all that BS. No, mad names.
Yeah, wow.
Mad names. Had to hold my tongue talking to certain grand sheiks and all that stuff to get certain things that are, you know, things that Moors just supposed to be given to other Moors. Just like when we went to Pittsburgh. And these Moors didn't even invite us in the temple. We had fezzes on and all that. You didn't invite us in the temple?
Crazy, bro.
Right? And even I think even at that point, we played hold our tongue. Okay, we're not gonna mention certain people's name. Let's just see. Let's just see how it is. You know, most more said that, oh yeah, this is my grand sheep. They still didn't let us in the temple.
Right. It's crazy, bro. But it reminded me of one of the questions and answers in the Lessons of the Gods and Earths, and it's something to the nature of why I did. Because remember, the devil is your own lower self too, right? For each individual. So we can't just sit here and be like, oh, well, the quote unquote white man and him alone is the devil. If he came from to the God, then that means that there's a reflection. But it says why don't they want us around their civilization? It means because we would see how wicked and filthy they actually are. So that applies to Moors too. When they're dealing with their lower self, to not invite your brother into the temple, coming from different parts of the earth. That's crazy.
Yeah,
bro.
that was crazy.
That's crazy.
Like,
yeah,
that was
I remember
crazy
that.
one.
I remember when y'all told that story for sure.
Yeah. But yeah, it's I think it's just at that place now, where those who want it are gonna gravitate, and those who won't are gonna hate.
Exactly.
Or they're gonna gravitate and go into the dirty side because they're about getting something from this. They're about trying to get something. They never think about the posterity. They always think them. They never think their children not suffering. They always think about them not suffering.
Right.
Because if
there is a problem.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a problem. And even with what you were talking about too, with Moors getting right and, realizing that, hey, if you're still in the flesh, don't get caught up in your ego. Don't get caught up in your ego.
Right.
Because you definitely ain't finished doing what you're supposed to do. And then stop crying about people. Oh my God, the good die young or whatever. They paid their stuff. They're out of here. You keep playing around. Better. and then they're giving honors to all these scriptural people or whatever who are 500 years old or whatever like that. 5,000 years old this guy lived to be. Obviously, he didn't do his stuff.
Right.
The hell are you talking about? Noah and Moses, 300 years old. Oh yeah, give them honors because they're 300 years old. Look how long they stayed here. Yeah, because they didn't do shit.
Right.
Didn't fix self. Right. Talking to burning bushes and stuff like that. What are you talking about? You talking with these crazy people? Are you a salvation? Guy talking to bushes? Please. Please. It's definitely not them. And like we were saying, priesthood is dead. So you better start looking within. You better do like that European on Brother Yusuf channel and go start breathing. Stop playing around. You better go breathe ASAP. Because you're losing your mind, warp speed. And don't worry, once you lose your mind, they already got a machine to take over. They already got all the self-serve stuff lined up. They don't need no cashiers. Keep playing. Think that this stuff's not toppling over. Like Skynet's a real thing. Keep playing. Skynet's real. They have freaking out here. I don't know about out there. Out here, they have certain wards at the hospital where it's machines that's like doing stuff. Machines doing stuff. Robots. You didn't see the guy just put the freaking auto-tune thing in his hand or whatever? In his arm? So he can sound like auto-tune when he's talking?
I didn't see that, bro. But I do understand the concept of the robot thing, though.
Yeah.
Because they started off where I'm at, like they started off. Now they got the self checkout lane.
Yep.
So they starting to get rid of the human in the workplace real early. They got the self checkout lane. And you don't even have to rely on the cashier. You can do it yourself. You can put your notes in the machine, or you don't even have to use notes. You could just swipe your card.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, so they already starting to get rid of humans. They testing it out already, bro. In a minute, and I remember, I don't know, I could just see it. You know what I mean? Now,
yeah.
I remember my mom saying, "Look, you need to, like," and this is when I was young, she dropped this on me.
Yeah.
And it makes more sense now because she was like, make sure that you learn how to feed yourself. We have to get back to the earth and the land, you know, because one day, you know, you're going to go to the supermarket and it's going to be shut down and there could be policy, but like policy enforcers at the supermarkets and all of these things. And not just that conspiracy theory, if you want to call it that, but the fact that the supermarkets will be closing down themselves. Mm-hmm. And in my area, it started happening. Mass supermarkets closed down. And they just opened a newer one for people in that community. But like, besides Pathmart, like Atlantic City didn't have a shopping center for mad years. I mean, they did. It was a point where they didn't, and then they did, and then, you know, the other one was questionable, and, you know, but it was just crazy, bro. And you had to go like 2-3 times over to get to the shopping mart, and then they closed. Then you had to go even further to travel. And when I seen that, I'm like, yo, certain things are coming into fruition.
Yeah.
And then all the businesses around the globe. And I'm like, I go to the supermarket now in different stores and I see the self-checkout lane. And I'm like, yo, I think I see where this is going. Because in a minute, there's not going to be any employees. It's just going to be machines and security guards with guns, with firearms. That's what's going to happen. Like, it's going to be human beings, I think, but it's going to be more so armed human beings. And they ain't going to be there to do the work. You know what I mean? They're just going to monitor the machines and the people.
I remember that's what
I see.
Yeah, and remember that's even how they got rid of security guards, by bringing in the metal detector or whatever like that. Because the security guard couldn't see jack. Yeah, security guard in the store. Okay, well, if there's 5 of us, you guys are done for. Like, what the hell are you talking about? You know? And then they had to get, okay, well, we'll get you going out the door then, and have stuff going off as you try to steal stuff, you know. But then you realize how to pop off the pins or whatever, you know. So it's all the evolution. It's just like with out here. Now you have they have the bus pass. They changed the bus pass because of it being duplicated and people making fraudulent bus passes or whatever. So they got rid of the bus pass. Now it's a swipe thing. And that's the only thing that you could use to get on, or put change in the thing.
Right.
You know.
Right. Yeah. Yo. You know what's crazy, bro? You know what bugged me out, bro? This bugged me out, bro. I just made a move and I didn't have like, excuse me. We didn't have like a washer and dry machine. So I had to go to the laundromat, right? Just on a temporary situation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, yo, I was tripping, bro. Because I've been to the laundromat before when I was young and all of this. Like, I ain't no stranger to a laundromat, right? But I go in, this is like it's not too long ago. It's not too long ago. Yo, you have to dry your clothes, you have to have a card and swipe it. Yeah. And you could buy the card. You know how you used to stick the dollar, the one note in the machine, and they give you 4 quarters back. Or if you stick a 5 in, they give you $5 in quarters, 5 notes,
swiping
quarters
on
back, right?
Yeah.
And yeah. Well, now instead of that being there, like you put that in and you buy a card, and then the card that you buy, you gotta swipe it to dry your clothes. I was like, yo, this is crazy, yo.
Yeah.
Like at the laundromat, you know how common it was to just stick the quarter in there,
Yeah.
and that's the end of that.
Yeah.
Like, why you gotta buy a card now? You know what I mean? Like that's crazy.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying that to show that the technology has taken over.
Yeah, yeah, straight up.
Bro.
That's no fronting. That's real shit.
Yeah.
That's real. That is real.
Right. I was like, yo, this is crazy, bro. So I was like, you know, it just goes to show that technology is interweaving itself into every aspect, bro. Even the laundromat. Like, that's crazy. You know what I mean? Like,
And
not that anybody wants to depend on the laundromat forever, but just the fact that, yo, do you remember? Like, damn, it's crazy. Like, that's just all of it. So when I see the self checkout lanes and I see the swipe machines, you know, at the laundromat, I'm like, this is a different world, bro. I know people who just came home at the end of 2018, after doing 6 years. You know what I'm saying? They're not oriented to what the world
what the hell's going on right now? Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Like they have no idea this shit is not the same.
Yeah,
like
yeah, and that's a 6 years. Imagine a man coming out from a 20 or something like that. You know what I mean? He's coming out into a whole, like, I can't even fathom what that is. Doing a 20 and coming out 2018.
It's crazy, bro. Crazy. And I'm like, damn. And I could just imagine, because, like, I've been out here and I'm still trying to get
yeah, you know what I'm saying? Straight up.
It's like not real talk, though. Like, I'm getting better at it. I'm getting better. I'm getting way nicer with it. But I'm just saying, it's like a hard thing to catch up. I hope, and maybe this is why in some of the prisons they do allow the captives to be familiar with the technology. You know what I mean? Like back in the day, they used to have school programs. I remember this because it was a lot of the older sisters in my community. Like, we was young, maybe first, second grade, but like the school went up from kindergarten to the 8th grade at that time, and then they separated the grades. But they used to have these classes where the sisters would, other people, anybody could participate. They would be pen pals to people who were in jail, like, and they would write them to keep them sane. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was ill, and the fact that that science of just, you know, correlating all of that together, and people being in different time frames coming out of so-called jail or prison or hell or the tombs or, you know, the modern day plantation, all types of it. You know what I mean? It's like, it'd be a lot for them to have to catch up with. So that's why writing people when they locked up, if you know they locked up, you know what I'm saying? Like, yo, a letter would take them so far, even if it's one page and some stamps. You know what I mean? Like, yo, it could do a lot. Because it just, you know, even with the latest technology is, hey, yo, you know, you can watch movies on your phone. Like, I know a lot of people do and don't know that, but when you talk about people who had to do like 20 years, it would be good to orient, because they got to come out and learn a whole new world. And they showed you that in the Shawshank Redemption. What was the old head dude who got out? He got parole. He didn't know what to do with himself. So he just hung himself in the room. I'm not saying anybody do that, but you know, some people come out to a world they don't understand because it's always changing. It's always everything is always rapid change. At least every 7 years. You know, it's always upgrading. So I don't know, man. It's a beautiful time. You know, it's a beautiful time. I'm glad we here. We alive. We get to share experiences. You know what I mean? I give thanks to my mother because honestly, like you say in the Circle 7, there is no language that can describe a mother's worth. So, you know, according to the lessons, it is what it is. But man, we do have a couple of callers. I mean, we could go.
That's
we could keep going in.
Yeah, we could take them.
That's peace.
Straight up.
All right. Cool. Islam. All right. So, cool. Caller 504-478. You're live on the air. You with us?
Islam, Moor, I just want to give a shout out to y'all for holding the broadcast tonight, man. I appreciate y'all. Islam.
Peace, Moor. Islam.
Peace, Moor. Indeed, Islam. Thank you, bro. All right, cool. So we appreciate that. All right, cool. Caller 914-382. You're live on the air. You with us, man?
Islam, peace and love, Nazarene, Kujuil, peace and love. This is William Ill.
Peace,
I definitely need to be on this because I want to touch up on the side of how brothers is disrespecting your mother, and I don't appreciate that. You know what I mean? Me, I do not appreciate that, and I'm gonna tell you that I have the utmost respect for your mother, Rosalind, because I have learned a lot from her. I personally had a call to let that be known because I just had I guess I want to say a conversation with some brother trying to disrespect the identification cards, things of that nature, and trying to say that cards don't work and all that stuff. And I'm telling the brother, like, listen, man, I use the card. I actively use the card. I know it works. Why are you saying these things? And, you know, he gets belligerent, and that's crazy. You know, he'll call me on the and gonna tell me I don't know what I'm talking about. And I'm explaining to him, brother, listen, apparently you can't stay on your square when it comes to using the identification card. And that's why it's not working for you. And all these Moors that you are saying that is being locked up and all these alleged stories you're saying, I don't believe them stories because the only reason why they're being locked up is because they did not study. Period. All right. So I just need to call and let that be known because there's a lot of falsehood being spread, and there ain't no falsehood about the information that your mother and Ill, that all the brothers and sisters that participate during the years that I've been studying with y'all, whether I have been calling in often or not, I have been studying with y'all. I learned most of my stuff from you, from Kuju Hill, from Annie E. Hill, from Roswire Bay, from Taj Tariq. I learned most of that stuff from y'all. And no, I'm not one of the original ones that walked from the beginning with y'all. But however, I do have knowledge of self. I had knowledge of self for a very long time. And when I got exposed to information, I was able to make sense of it right away. But I appreciate y'all. I appreciate all the work that y'all have done through the years. I appreciate all the mothers that work with y'all, all the fathers that work with y'all, and I appreciate Noah Ali. You know what I mean? I give all praises to the mothers. I give all praise to the mothers. I give all respect to the mothers. And I'm with you on that. As far as disrespecting Roswire Bay, that's an issue. Period. That's an issue. And that needs to stop. All right. So with that, I give y'all brothers, my love, my sisters, my love, the mothers, my love. And
Peace.
Peace, Noble.
Peace. Always good to hear. All right, peace to everybody who's been listening online. It's going to go down in about 10 seconds. The call-in number is, oh yes, y'all already went off. But for the record, though, just so all know, call-in number is 319-527-6751. Sorry about the fact that those who are listening online may have dropped off.
It's all good. We're on YouTube too.
We're going to take our next call.
We're on YouTube too. They can't
Right,
stop it.
Right,
they can't stop it.
Let's go.
Straight.
YouTube. Yeah. Hit that like button, y'all. I had to say the famous YouTube live stream quote, right? Hit the like button. Like that. All right, so cool. Let's take our next caller. Caller 216-544. You're live on the air. You with us?
Yeah, it's long. Brother Israel Bay. I'm from Morocco. Near Salam, Carolinas. I just wanted to read something brief. I didn't. Well, first I want to say I watched that video today, and that was kind of disheartening to see that. That definitely is uncalled for. And the mother put in way too much work to even have something like that out there. So I appreciate all that y'all do and all that she do, definitely. So hopefully we can find a way to not allow things like that to occur. But I just want to read. This is from Moor Civic Services, and it says, page 19, and it says, without a nationality to identify you as a being in the human family, you are then subject to the 14th and 15th Amendments that give privileges, not rights. You are considered minorities because of your mind, not because you are a minor of age or the lesser amount of people in terms of population. And this simple little excerpt right here to go so far and keep people from doing the crazy things that they're doing. And it's just really people are not studying. I haven't been studying over a year yet, and I'm, still grounded in my awareness and actually want to learn more. So, and I just want to say, I appreciate all that y'all doing, and I just wanted to read that, and I yield with that.
Lord, Mark.
Peace, brother. We appreciate you too. Thank you, bro. Definitely great add-on. Indeed, yup. So that's crazy, man. That is our last caller on the list right here.
Islam.
So anybody in the queue, you could press 1 and come out the queue if you already asked your question. Yeah, and if anybody has a question, you could press 1 if you're still listening on the line. So yeah, man. But yeah, for the record, man, this was just like, all of this came out 2 days. So I'm like, oh, okay. I already know. We counted all of that. And when you're speaking about, what we do is for the people. You know what I mean? What we do is for us and the people. The reciprocity. So, we have some good things in the making. I know there's a lot of haters. I'm not going to put it out there. We already briefly spoke on it. But, we are doing great things for our people. And I cannot wait until we can peaceably all assemble once again, those of like mind. So, that being the case, I'm just thankful, man.
Yeah, for real.
Let me see. I think we have another call. Yeah. I might be mistaken. I trust I'm not. But caller 216-544. You're live on the air. You with us?
Islam, yeah. I was just the last call.
Okay, all right, man. Cool. Thank you, bro. All right, peace. Yeah. All right, so we good on that. Yeah, man.
And then, and put it out there too. Honors to the people who give honors. You know what I mean? To where they got their info from, and they know that they got it from RV Bay. Honors to those people.
Exactly.
who actually, you know, like the Moor said, we use our nationality card. Like, what do you mean? Does it work, or can it work, or what's nationality, or how are you whatever? Like, what do you mean? We're operative. We're not speaking about some you know, we went on the moon or something like that. We're talking about right here, right now. You didn't listen to guys that say they went on the moon. You didn't listen to people talk crazy. But we're telling you practical, actual, factual, what we've done. We've walked the path that we're talking about, and nobody's going with that. Everybody's questioning something and debating something, and they always got some type of rebuttal to things that Moors are saying. But you never once questioned Jesse Jackson when he said you're African American.
Right.
You never once questioned Elijah Muhammad. How come you guys took off the fezzes? You never once questioned how come none of these Garveyites told you that the Garvey papers, the Garvey court case said Garvey was plaintiff in error, just like Dred Scott. You learned the lesson that was being taught.
Facts. Yo, let me share something with y'all real quick too.
Good, Moor.
Right. This is crazy. This just happened today, right? This when you know you're vibrating in an ancestral energy. All right, so it's this it's this spot that I stay at. It's like an antique shop, but there's a bunch of pop-up shops. And it it has all types of the earthy things that, you know, natural in tune people like. Like you got candles in there. They got custom made soaps in there. You know, all of these made out of natural ingredients, so that you know, for people with that just is with the natural sources of washing with without all the chemicals. Like, I'm a Moor, so you know I don't feel comfortable using Irish Spring. Like, I know, you know what I'm saying, we were original people of so-called Ireland, but just when I wash up with that, I don't feel right. I just need something different. Like, I'd rather like some Nubian heritage soap or something like that, or you know, some custom made soaps. You know what I mean? Some Nag Champa soaps or something that's more Asiatic feel, you know? And they have these types of things in there. And I went in there today, and like, if you're a customer, like you get this card, and every time you come in, I keep it on me. I you know, you come in, they mark your card, and after like the 10th item that you get an item free. You know what I'm saying? And it's this one European lady in there, and every time I see her, I just be like, yo, I know she practiced Moor science. You cannot tell me she don't. Like, even though she's not a Moor, I know she practiced Moor's, okay, let me say divine science. Right? I just know that, because all of that is in here. You got the candles, you got the natural soaps, you got the Buddha heads, all these antiques, right? So you're dealing with history. So I go in there, I get my free soaps, all of this thing. She ring me up. This is how I knew I was just in the vibrational energy. So I'm like, yo, I know I'm home. I know this is my land. I know I'm not just from across the Great Atlantic. Like, I'm home. Aboriginal. Like, without me saying anything, bro, like, because I felt like I didn't want to be arrogant, but I was like, man, I ain't, you know, ain't worried about no taxes, nothing. And she just was like, yeah, so this is your total, and I just took the taxes off. Like, I ain't even fake nothing, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and she just took the taxes off. So, you feel me? Like, I'm talking about that. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't have to say nothing at the register, bro. It bugged me out because she just was like, yeah, I just took the taxes off. I was like, oh, wow. Really? And I just walked, you know, I had my free soap and I got some extra ones, but it just bugged me out that, you know, she was like, I'm taking the taxes off. I said, oh, okay. I ain't pull out my nationality card or nothing. Like, she just did it. That's crazy. So I say that to say that sometimes when you in the vibrational energy of your ancestors, things just happen. You know what I mean? Yeah, you gotta be active. You have to. It'll exude off you. Like they would know. Like, oh, yeah, right. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I just had a lot of revelations over last year. Last year was a learning lesson. I remember actually even with all of the time I was speaking about, it's like I went into another shift after 2017 Gregorian calendar. Because I've been like really taking the lessons of life internally, like just, you know what I mean, analyzing. But when I said I went down to the we went down to Fort Monroe, so-called Fort Monroe, Virginia, so-called Virginia. It was like we went multiple places, and again, I'm not gonna name them all because there's still some footage that has to be put out on that. But we found out a lot when we was down there. We found out a lot, and when we had that experience, I said then, yo, I think I found enough information to still study for the rest of my life. I remember that. That was July 2017. We were speaking about it, and because me and mom, we like circumambulated the Battery Church. It was July 2017 Gregorian calendar. And the places we went and the literature we picked up, and I was really analyzing these people, I realized like in history and in art and all of these things, they have really literally tried to blot us out in our imagery out of history, bro. And not just learning from that experience, but I think that was a time mark of having to learn on new degrees for the rest of my life. Because since then, I've been seeing so many lessons, graces, and not blessings, because we know blessings are bloodshed, but it just was like, it was really a year of revelation. So we still fresh on the 2019 Gregorian calendar, not the new year. I'm talking about the calendar, right? But then we also know that there never was a time when we were not. So I take these lessons and I'm like, applying them to myself, and it's just like, yo, so much to learn and so much to perfect, so much to grow from. So I'm just thankful, bro.
For real.
You know what I mean? So, yeah, absolutely.
Supreme thanks. Even to be able to have the revelations. It's funny too, because we were talking about the content for class and how, you know, it goes 9 o'clock, anything could happen.
Yeah,
and we didn't get to talk about anything that we were talking about, that we wanted to talk about. Crazy.
Oh, yeah, right. We didn't even touch on that. But that's why I don't know why. But I didn't even peep that till after we spoke. And I was like, damn, yo, I knew it. I just knew it. Because that was all that was on my mind. I'm like, yo, hold on. You know, I shoot videos. You know what I mean? I haven't posted everything up. You know what I mean? Not yet anyway. Because I know about taking time to perfect things and present them in their proper light, right? So, but I also know about editing. Like I said, I've had, you know, classic Moors even. You know what I'm saying? Come on and try to you know, speak ill on another person. And I'm just like, I'm not allowing that on here. You know what I mean? That's not what this is about. Like, because I already just know, you know what I mean? None of us are perfect. This is the point of being here. You know, this is the point.
Yeah.
Right? Because civilizations advance through experience. You know what I'm saying? Civilizations advances through experience and manifesting in the mind, imagination. Everything that we enjoy comes from that memory bank. You know what I mean? So people from olden times had formulas that still work today, and they were passed down. But then there's those who invented new ones. So they took that experience though, and then even hybrid. You know what I mean? And they took that science that came before them and built on it and advanced it. So I say that to say that, you know, even with all the revelations, that it's always civilization is always advancing, and that's why we're here to learn through experience. So we can say, okay, this works like that, but this not going to work. It may have some time to figure out. Square blocks are not going to get you rolling. You need a wheel, a circular aspect to keep it moving. You know what I'm saying? And they took the science and just passed it down. Even with certain cycles of time in astrology, you know, everything has to be passed down. So we always add on to the civilizations that we come from and live in, or, you know, is around us. So that's how it's supposed to be for us to advance. That's it.
And that's even relative to
Moor.
to what we're dealing with this. You know, like Brother Seth and Rabe was saying the other day, that there was a foundation that was laid with this, and we're supposed to build on it. You know, we're not supposed to be sitting back waiting for somebody to do something for this.
Right.
You know, we're the ones that's supposed to be building on this. You know, we're the one that's supposed to be looking at the foundation and then carrying on what needs to be carried on. You know, and like we're saying, some things you're going to discard some stuff because it might not be able to apply, you know. But I'm sure you can take that square or whatever and make something out of it if you can't use it for a wheel. You know.
Right.
Everything has its purpose and its place. You know. Even self. And what are you doing with self? And then which self are you doing stuff with? You know. And again, going back to the lesson of Drew Ali saying, you know your higher self and lower self. Know your higher self and abandon your lower self and have that popping up every goddamn 10 days, messing up your life. Know the lower self too, so you could control it. You know, master that as well, because that's where the Kundalini energy is that you need to raise to your higher self. So you better know what the hell your lower self is about. Yeah, and you're not crazy when you talk to self. So talk to self as much as you can.
Exactly.
Talk to self as much as you can. Go ahead, Mark.
Hold up. I was saying, but you have to be still because it's still a small place. When you're still, that's when Allah speaks in that still small place.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
It goes back to that thing again.
Which is a time part.
No, go ahead, Moore.
No, my fault. I was eating at the same time.
No, me too. That's why.
Like,
that's why I gave it to you. Because I was doing the same thing.
I was like, yeah, but that's where Allah speaks. So it's a degree of being still and listening to yourself. You know what I mean? Because that's the meeting place when you listen to your heartbeat. Like that type of silence, you know, because that's where you meet Allah, is in the heart. So it's in you, you know, and when you're still, it's you and your subconscious.
Exactly.
Which is God, which is Allah. Yeah. Man is mine. For indeed.
And honors to the good brother Alim Al-Bey as well. Another one of the teachers that when we were coming up, you start talking about his name or whatever. Oh my gosh, all of a sudden, you know, everybody has a problem. Especially more science, whoever's. So you talk about Alim. Oh, nah. There's no thing as Washata and all that. What's that? And even though there's stuff to show, stuff to prove, that, hey, you know, we are this. You're not going to go, like, we are it. You know what I mean? Like, during that time, you weren't hearing nobody debating Alim Al-Bey when he was lecturing with Hemet and Black Dot and all of that. Nobody was debating. They weren't debating Moors back then. Why? Because half those people who are debating Moors were dumb niggers at that time. They had to humble themselves to the Moor. They had to humble themselves to the masters. Had to. But they were in the peanut gallery. Now all of a sudden they're debating Moors. Where the hell were you in 2006? In the goddamn peanut gallery. Taking notes like everybody else. And then now, talking about you hate Moors and we're not Moors and talking crazy. Bro, you're from the peanut gallery. What do you mean? We were in the peanut gallery together taking notes. How are you against the Moors all of a sudden when you took the same notes I took? The hell you trying?
Exactly.
You know? But like you said, a thug changes. And best friends become strangers. Repetitive theme. Repetitive theme.
Bro.
Because not everybody's cut from the cloth to be a Moor. Some people need to go be niggers. Stop fronting. Take off your fez and turban and go back to the state where the Prophet found you. And stop playing around like you got something to do with this. Try to make this look messed up. Don't make this look messed up. You're only making yourself look messed up. Because like we say, Moore just said, went to the place, got the taxes off, didn't even have to show a nationality card.
Didn't even have to bring up the conversation, bro.
It wasn't even in the conversation. Nothing. You tell me about this doesn't work or somebody doesn't recognize this? FOH. You just stay in your little BS that you're doing. Stop bringing up Moors. Stop bringing up stuff in history. Stop bringing up things modern time. Leave it all alone. Just leave it alone. Because again, we're telling you, you know, you're looking at certain Moors and you're getting brolic, but there's certain Moors who's not going to take your BS. They're going to come check you. Because lots of Moors are fed up with the BS. with this divisiveness that's going on with Moors, who should know better? Because they say they're Grand Sheik and Grand Governor and Grand this and Grand that. If you're all these grand stuff, how come you're about separation all the time? How come you're only about your little lodge, your little lodge temple, and you're not about the nation?
Right.
Stay being about your little lodge, group, temple, whatever. But when it comes to nationhood, and let's do something as a nation, oh no, we can't do that because you guys wear red shirts and we wear orange shirts, and that's different. We're not the same. You say that you're Moors and we say we're Moorish American, and it's not the same. Crazy. Purposely causing others to look at us like we're crazy as a whole. But they already know on one-on-one, the right Moor, they read the energy, they already know what's up. You know how many Moors got out of stuff just because of energy? Let's forget about taxes off. Let's talk about get pulled over by a highwayman or whatever. You already know plates or whatever. You already know there's no license. You already know there's no whatever. And then he's telling you about, okay, well, just try to fix that and travel safely. No issues, no nothing. Who the hell are these Moors? Who are these Moors that's been exercising right to travel for the past 10, 15, 20 years, never have any issues ever? Zero issues, zero. Get pulled over, whether they go to the court, whether they don't go, zero issues. Zero issues because of energy. Why? Because they're doing their little breathing and stuff. They listen to Brother Alim's lecture. They listen to Mother Raz and they go check their astrology and stuff like that, so they know when to go out the house and when to stay your ass home. Because it makes a big difference. It makes a big difference when you know the energies that govern you. Being on this plane, being on this earth. Like I was saying, you don't, physical does have nothing to do with this. Once you're here, you better go learn something.
Right.
If you're here, you should be learning something. You're not here to not learn something. Because the reason why you're here, because you didn't learn last time you were here. So your ass is here again to learn again. Because your dumb ass didn't get the message last time. And again, last time, you know, stuff was all right. You could go, you could pay 200 and have a house and have 800 acres and all that stuff. You'd be all right. And now you have a shoebox that you're paying $5 grand a month for. And you have people taxing you to death. They got taxes for everything. Water tax, heat tax, electricity tax, tax on clothes, tax on whatever. Just because they can. You know, no cashiers. Remember last time you used to have that one cashier? It was at the corner store. Everybody lived in the same little village or whatever. Everybody knew the one lady. And then now you come now and machines are freaking telling you about $5.99. That's no different than the man who did the 20 years. And he's coming up. You were here some hundreds of years ago. You come back to this place, you're like, what the hell is going on? Where have I been? What did I miss since the last time I was here because I didn't learn? Well, you're here again. Let's see if you learn now. Grocery bag tax. Bag tax. They tax a bag. Right?
Yeah, I see that in the comment section.
Yeah.
Yo, I remember that too. The first time I was bugged out, they had an Aldi's supermarket. And they was charging 5 cents for the paper bags, bro. I was like, dang, that's kinda, cheap. You know what I mean? Like,
yep.
you charging for the bag. Usually you go to the store and the bag is a convenience.
Get a bag.
You charge for the bag. Yeah, it's a real thing.
Right.
Bagged. Grocery bag.
And it's not that taxes are bad, Gabrielle. Taxes are only bad when there's no representation behind the taxes. So, for example, Noble Drew Ali said per capita tax. And that was so the temple could run because the manufacturing company was paying for everything. So amongst the Moors, of which we had, 500,000 to 800,000 to 1 million members, if you get per capita tax from all those members, then the manufacturing company wouldn't have to pay for anything. Now the temple could pay for it. Right? That's taxes with representation. Tax without representation is like bag tax. Water tax. How are you taxing water? How are you taxing electricity? Stuff that they didn't even create, they're taxing. Right? So don't think it's like a tax this. But we know ain't nobody who's dark skinned in the Americas should be paying any tax to any European here.
Right on.
And then they owe us taxes for being here.
Yeah.
And it's a documented fact. Say that again, more?
Yeah. I said no representation and they closed for business right now.
Exactly. How are they taxing when they're closed?
Yeah. And if the Inquisition gang, basically extortion gang, is still operating, that goes to show they ain't really a part of that so-called structured government. Because even at like the TSAs and all of that right now, and this is nothing like that, but I'm just saying, you have some airports where TSA members are not even working anymore, bro. Not for right now while it's shut down. So it's like, are you to pay into a corporation that you don't work for? Like, and if you do work for that corporation, you know what I mean? They're supposed to be giving you fiat, not you them. If you're a worker for that corporation, so it's like, it's an interesting dynamic, bro. Like how far that whole thing being twisted, because even with the so-called license plates for the Washington District of Columbia or Washington D.C. on it, now they have written on it taxation without representation.
Yeah.
Like that's like certain license plates have maxims or slogans or axioms, right? Like Maine or Vermont is one of them, is live free or die. You know what I'm saying? Jersey is the Garden State, and so on and so on. Florida, Sunshine State, and so on and so on. But that's what the ones for DC got their own tags, right? And it's just taxation without representation. I'm like, that's a bold statement to make, on a license plate. But, that's where they at with it. So that's for their society, because it was only supposed to be 10 square miles. And like, people will find that out. Like, anybody who has ever had like a Job discrepancy and tried to write to the equal employment opportunity in DC and all of that, like, they will literally write you back and say, we don't have jurisdiction. Like, yo, they will say that. Like, we just have jurisdiction. Just Washington, D.C. You know what I mean? And you'd be like, But, you know, it was only 10 square miles. And that, they formed that post Declaration of Independence, post-Constitution in the 1800s. You know what I mean? So it's an interesting dynamic with that. But I say that to say that anybody not within that jurisdiction or part of that society, you know, I mean, it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense.
That's facts,
to pay into that. But yeah, and then especially if they're going to turn around and not respect you as a human being or as a natural person or as a true and living life, you know, because what are you paying into? Is that subjugation? You know, or is it voluntary? Because like, you got sincere-hearted people who go to church. You know what I'm saying? And as far as they're concerned, like, they're satisfied with just giving their pennies to the pastor. Whatever it may be that they have to donate, they feel like they're donating to their society. You know what I mean? Whether that particular organization be corrupt or not, they feel as though they're paying into something that supports them in their community. So they're like, okay, we give the pastor this amount, and, you know, whatever else keeps it going. Maybe they give in the spirit of, okay, this is going to buy the crackers and the cranberry juice for Sunday school. I don't know what it is. You know what I'm saying? But some people sincerely just give to what they feel as though benefits their life and society, and don't feel comfortable giving to anything that's not a part of that society. And they're not wrong in that particular aspect of paying into what benefits you specifically. You know what I mean? Like, you don't invest in a corporation that is not doing anything for you and blatantly ignoring your existence. You know what I mean? They don't even respect your basic rights in certain instances. You know? So it's like, pay into that. That's a bad investment. It's not anything unlawful. It's just, that's not, it makes no natural law sense.
Sure.
Lawfully or legally. It doesn't make sense. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't see lions hunt to go throw it to the crocodiles. Like, no. You know what I mean? Like, nah. They do that for their pride, their tribe, etc. So, their nationality, if you will. And I think that that's just a natural law principle. Anything outside of that is something different.
Sure.
So, yeah, man. Yeah, we got like about 22 minutes left. You want to say anything in closing, bro?
More just, you know, supreme thanks to RV Bay Publications, because we know that website saved crazy amount of minds out there. We can't even count how many minds and souls RV Bay Publications saved just by presenting info. Forget anything else on there. Just information for you to know the truth about your nationality and birthrights. We give supreme thanks. And thank you for putting that story out there. That intro story was pretty good. I enjoyed that. And I'm sure the Moors in the chat had fun with that too. And of course, honors to the Prophet Noble Drew Ali for taking his stand and allowing us to, you know, be in deific life so we could be our sons of Allah every third Thursday, and, you know, give some of the Moors out there a little bit of what they're not getting on certain Moorish venues. So peace and love to you too, Moor.
Facts.
Oh yeah, and of course
peace
the chat.
You,
of course the chat, Moors. Islam to the chat muftis and everybody else out there that's gonna eventually view this.
No doubt. Salute to all of you. Big acknowledgement. I appreciate it. I appreciate you likewise. You know, and no doubt. I mean, that's what we're going to talk about, because it's like this. You know, as far as the numerology, we in the understanding phase. You know, so it's like that's where we at with it. We could tell real stories, bro. Like, you know what I mean? But I appreciate you all for listening. I trust that was some upliftment for you all. Even myself, it was good to speak on that real quick, to put that in perspective. You know what I mean? And that's just what it is. So salute to you for rocking with me, bro. You know, Sons of Allah every third Thursday. Yeah. You know what I mean? And this Sunday, this Sunday is it this Sunday? Yeah, it's this Sunday. Sister Standing on Law. Sister Standing on Law is this Sunday, because this is the third Thursday. So that means, it's the third Sunday. This Sunday, Sister Standing on Law at 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And besides that, I know that you will be doing, or usually do the Sunday class.
Yeah, we will. On Tuesday. Yeah, we're supposed to have some minus 40 with the wind chill on Sunday. So class is just going to be online on Sunday. So we'll see you right here. We'll see you right here at 12 o'clock. We'll see you right here at 12 o'clock. We're definitely going to be closed on Sunday, because they said it's supposed to drop crazy all of a sudden. Not all of a sudden, but you know, Drew Ali prophesied that the warm weather is going to be in the north. We had our warm weather, but you know, old man Winter, he's coming back this weekend.
Right.
He's coming back this weekend.
40 below.
Yeah, we're gonna get the real one. So you know, we'll be straight. You know, we already know how to deal with it up here. You know, we're the Eskimos and stuff, so don't worry, we'll be straight. But just so you know, class.
Yeah, real talk, yo.
Yeah.
My goodness, bro. I can't, man. That's cold. Bro.
Yeah, that's cold. That's cold. That's the one when you inhale and you feel the hairs. You feel the hairs in your nose get the icicles and shit. Those ones. Yeah, the ones where you have to, you know, eyes only outside. Everything else is covered. Anything else outside, you might lose that.
Right. Well, damn. Well, I trust you. You more survive.
Yeah, we'll be straight.
That situation as you know what I mean. Stay home. I know it probably be dope to live in a place that got a fireplace out there.
Yeah. Fireplaces are cool. Yeah, it's all good until you have to go cut wood.
Right. They got to put in that work.
Yeah, you got to put that work in.
Used to be unseemly parts, bro.
Exactly.
Already know. Yes, indeed. Yeah, bro. So yeah, man. That's what it is. Appreciate you all, and we'll be back ASAP. All right.
Islam.
Islam, no doubt, and definitely. Stay tuned. I know it'll be announced in due time, but we definitely have some great things in store for us to peaceably assemble. And I trust that Moors will come in the spirit of that peaceable assemblage. And we all get to just enjoy ourselves in the moments and the times of where we're at, you know, because at the same time that people are trying to slander and, you know, drag Harvey Bay Publications name through the mud and all of these things, you know, there's a lot of great things happening too. So everything is not all bad, you know. It's polarities in life. So we're gonna keep going and keep moving, and you know, victory is assured no matter what, and we know that. We stand on that. So no arrogance, no vainglorious, but just all peace. Peace to you all, bro. Peace, sisters, brothers, mothers, etc. The youth, everybody. All right.
Islam. Peace.
What? I'm rocking. Who says we in the building? Who says we in the building? We the Moor master makers, architects, for your children, rapid Friday searches like Jason, without the killing. But we promote life, it's all about the feeling. And we invoke life, freedom, life, feeling. So you might see him on the block getting the pop, you might be talking the cop, giving the pop, occasionally wearing his vest when he's walking, he's the turning heads, whispering, gawking, but he's locked in, and he's stoned out while we locked in our own house. Study the mystics, the Adams, the Magi, wisdom of the ancients, and all counts the fire. Possible mission, free mental numbness, extract some substance with minds of darkness. Use the thought, don't care what's up before. As we know by being told, man knows not. Many look on the floor, don't God God. Twisted the devil's hand, ruled in the seven land. Use up my rituals, need for spirituals. Brainwash subliminal, keep thinking to a minimal. Little criminal, in a world digital so pitiful. Mental survival so critical, it's visible. Can you see that like the block? Hashtag zombie, your ways of time of fun. Police want cell phones, they keep you so far. It's nothing for alarm, chips and forearm. When grass and base, such a beautiful serenade. Women feeding me grapes, I'm feeding the inheritance. Whether this life is very great. Great when you hear a fake, giving life to see. Freaking food, I get day. Show you the future in the grand. And I was looking at homes like a illusionary day. Sun walking desert, in Mars, the things I found God look back. Used to be a friend. Forget being a prince, I'm a G. OG grown man, no dope, tonight you'll know me. Don't make me happy for the old me. That's like a couple hundred years. Walk around town with a couple hundred years and release the piece of up gears. The sun gon' shine for what's there. This young brother here just trying to get his third eye clear. More don't speak, invest in your mind, mafia unleash. Real life rap, written over tracks. Conscious thinking and living and then attack. More don't speak, invest in your mind, mafia unleash. Real life rap, written over tracks. Conscious thinking and living and then attack. The sun takes the straight, the spoons are blocked, the fight box, still crazy. The rap, who got taken? Like a thing, the corridors of level faces. Game changers, real faces, and no pretenders. Silent, I know my vibe through the vibe, and I'm defenders. In the message to our federation, soldiers up and get it in. We on the verge, we emerge subliminal beings. Third eye seeing, cause I participate on winning. They want to break me, shake, make me. Run with my name, G, double OMG. That's the way it's crazy. For a minute that you think you could take me for a fool like a lady to be blandy in school by your foreign dude. It's taking me, everybody run the room in the club. I can say you can take it, you better move or I'm market. Our thing is my tongue, your resistance is target. We're dealing all night and you speak on the market. Genocide, carry out and talk to cut market. Down bulldozer, this is the light, it's an exposure. I can be kept, you will never see it closer. Figure down for around the pocket soldiers. Little homie, I was seeking a fortune, tired of misfortune. I just wanted a fortune, everything that I never had, so I needed my fortune. Blowing like porcelain, hated fabulous porcelain. Getting broke, tired of being broke. How to get quiet, hope to the peace, still is the show. Just to keep us afloat, mighty teachers of both. Real is the lethal weapon, we want need to low. When I speak up, I'm broke. Walk in the room with my own feeling like heavy smoke. Feel like when the left is broke. Under my Louis Vuitton, the Chevy coat. The very cap of the chicken. Boy, you hate it, joke. The cost of living, higher profits and private prisons. These little girls are studying blind, just to pay for pushing. These little niggas studying niggas just to build positions. It's like the state you never had to put in the fiction. I want to see the world, but I'm one man. A couple ones like me in this one plane. I want to see the world, but I'm one man. A couple ones like me in this one plane. You sat down and you attacked the master teacher because you thought you heard something that you didn't hear. That's the first violation. You don't come in. First of all, you come in and you act like you come in peace, but you don't. You got an agenda.
Moors are men upright, independent and fearless. Dogmatized, dirty Moors, tongues cut out, left earless, cause they never listen. Dirty Moors, keep up your slander. Wu-Tang torture in your ass, hot hangers. Kidnappers, dirty Moor, torture him like Saw. 3D, 0 from 5 or 1 through 4. Or get it like 5 or 6 with a fez on jigsaw. Leather face in a turban, rip dirty Moors lips off. Disrespecting the mother Raz Mariah Bay. Wrap him up like double crochet, the barbed wire way. Throw him off a bridge or feed him to the piranhas. Yellow journalist Moors spread nothing but propaganda. Idi Amin bait, treat the temple like Uganda. Dirty Moors like foreigners, crush the dust like ganja. Not worthy of being Moors, we call him dirty the Jesus. Solomon Seal spell command 72 demons to get you.
This is what the temple guys actually said. That Canaanland is not a part of North America. Canaanland is bigger. Yo, it's ignorant, man. I mean, come on, you're talking about the same land mass. Canaanland is actually bigger than the land mass they know is the corporate United States. Almost twice as big. And if they had any sense, they could just go to Google and they can type in North America and find out North America goes all the way up to Green. But they're ignorant. They don't want to do that. They just dealing off emotions.
You might hear hoarse voices, see frog faces, and who's for feet. Demons we run with spitfire with gold wolf teeth. Keep playing, forget back teeth. New Moors are an issue, get Ginsu. Maybe a dream visit from Ishnu, a nightmare to never end and always continue. Cold as an igloo, dealing with my trust issues through vigilance. Active Moors are militants, SPLC dirty Moors call that sovereign citizen. Lying for views, they notice all the empty pews. Benz need gas and fixing, but not enough dues. Pigpen Bays sell you out for peanuts, claiming that we nuts for teaching birthright street level, keeping it beat nuts.
To any members of the MFTA that's out there listening to what I'm saying, please get it through your head. I don't have a problem with the MFTA. I got issues with
Kendrick Lamar, stay surrounded by feathers. Dirt is guilty of fraud if dually scrutinize their ledgers. Getting proclamations from Morocco, disrespect us. Corporate city only recognize people's court jesters. Hand in their back, Moorish puppets and minions. Never get the human rights recognition like Moors near Virginia. Commonwealth, for active Moors knowledge, the Commonwealth. 30s claim more, but really on the straw man health. Authenticating a birth certificate, that's not significant. Still a little more two-status syndicates. In more face, watch them two more status Indians claiming Turtle Island are lying, so intricate.
long days and long nights. But this message needed to be heard.